B'siyata d'shmai, let's continue. There's a lot of halachas we actually have to get through. I'm not sure if we're going to manage even this week. We'll try Be'ez Hashem to try to finish off, wrap up the halachas of Hadlokas Haneiros. There are just so many halachas that are nageya, and it's so interesting because again, most people don't end up learning these halachas, which is why we have to spend some time on understanding what's going on. So a couple of things I want to get to. Again, our goal over here is to get to what does a yeshiva bacher do when he's in yeshiva, when he's out of yeshiva, going away and stuff like that. Well, of course, that's the goal of what we're getting to. But in the meantime, we're going to learn some of the other halachas. Just interesting, someone asked me, I think at the end of last week by the share, someone said, how much oil has to be, oil we'll talk about in a minute if you have to use oil, but let's say use oil. How much oil has to be in there? Meaning, how long do the candles actually have to light for? Is there a zman? Now, we know by Hanukkah, even though it's a good shaila where it comes from, there's no real share of oil, but there's a share in the zman, in time, of how long the Haneiros have to be lit for by Hanukkah. When it comes to Shabbos Kodesh, what is the inyan over here when it comes to Shabbos? So it's interesting, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch brings, in the Siman Dalet, that it should be lit until at least Kiddush and the Suda. The Ktsoisa Shulchan brings down in Siman Dalet Reb Chaim Noah Zatzal, he said it should be lit until you go to sleep. That's an interesting thing. And there's a tshuva in the Ben Ish Chai, from the Rab Poilin, the Ben Ish Chai brings down that it should be lit the entire night. Why? He says, since the reason of the Gemara is Shalai Yikashal, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to get a drink or you want to find something and it's pitch dark and it's dark, whether you're not going to find anything, that's going to be a problem. And made Zuk the Ben Ish Chai, that's the reason why it should be all night in that case. But I think the minig is generally not to be so choshesh for the time, but we put a nice amount of oil in there, which we'll get to the Indian oil in a moment. Now, the Makam Hadloka is a very important thing. Where do we light? Where should you choose to light? And again, we're not discussing right now something that goes away for Shabbos. We're going to get there. But in a person's home, where should a person be lighting? So we said, if you remember last week, we said there are two reasons why we light. And this all comes from the Gemara. Rashi brings it down. And that is reason number one is because of Shalai Yikashal, is that we don't want a person to trip up and to whatever it is, not to see what's going on. Also, maybe just keep it open. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, gewaldig. To hear. Gewaldig. Zev, we want to make sure that you're hearing. Okay, so number one is Shlei Kosh. And the other one is Kovet V'Oinik Shabbos. Now, Kovet V'Oinik Shabbos would mean that it should be lit where? In the place where you eat. And Shlei Koshel means anywhere really that you're going to be walking over Shabbos. Which is why the Svarim HaKadoshim tell us it's good to be Yotze all, which is why most people will light it in their dining room. There's a shayla, should it be lit on the dining room table? If you look at that Rizal, it brings up Sazoya Kodesh, should not be lit on the table, should be like the menorah and the Mizbeach, should not be on the table. All right, some people have different minhagim, we're not going into all the minhagim right now, but I'll compare them like this. This is where it gets complicated. If a person goes to a hotel for Shabbos Kodesh, so most places will tell you that you're not allowed to light in your bedroom. Which, by the way, you have to know. If they're telling you in a hotel that you're not allowed to light in your bedroom, then you're being over on Gneva if you're lighting in the bedroom. You're not allowed to do so. In other words, they're giving you permission to live in this room, to stay in this room over Shabbos, for as long as you've rented the room for, right? Bunim, but Lamaisa, they're not giving you permission to do things in it that you're not allowed. So it will be stealing to light in the room, apart from the fact that, of course, it's a fire hazard. That's besides the point. But you could be over on stealing. You have no heta to do something in the room that they forbid you specifically from doing. So where are you meant to light? It's a big problem. So what they do is in the hotels, is they have what Rav Moshe Zatzal called the Brocha Levatola table. That's what Rav Moshe called it. It's called the Brocha Levatola table. It's a table in the lobby, right in the Knisa, in the entrance of the hotel. Right, the dining room is downstairs, your bedroom is upstairs, and in the lobby they have a table. Has anybody seen this? Everyone's looking at me like, what? Has anyone, right? Chesky, ever saw such a thing? Right, you did Yehuda, Menachem. You saw such a thing, right? Shimon, this is a normal thing, right? How about that? Bunim. What do you say? Yeah? Moish. Yeah? It's called a Brocha Levatola table. Why is it a Brocha Levatola table? Very simple. Right, it's not my name. Rav Moshe called it that way, right? I think we were one time with the boys, and we were discussing, maybe Shimon, probably Shimon, no? We wanted to put up a sign over there. We wanted to put a sign on the table, right? Rav Moshe said, the Olim should know when you come to that table, this is the Brocha Levatola table. Why is that Brocha Levatola table? Yeah, you know the answer. Very simple. Because you're lighting in the middle of nowhere. I'll give you an example, right? It's like by Hanukkah. You can't go into the street and light menorah. There's a Modikas Fasemis, not for now. We'll talk about it when we get to Hanukkah, right? You can't just walk into the street and say, okay, I'm lighting. Presume Nissa. It's not how it works. The Gemara ties it to a house. Right? Ner ish u beisai. There's a connection. Memele, when it comes to Shabbos Kodesh, it has to be that I'm getting covered v'oineg, and that's where I'm eating. Memele, if I'm doing it in a place where I'm not getting any hana whatsoever, which, by the way, we didn't get yet to the sugya, which also ties to this kasha of our lights nowadays. In other words, the candles that we light nowadays are not really providing illumination to our room, to our dining room, or to our food. We would see ganz good if we wouldn't have our candles, because we have electric lights. That's a different sugya. We'll talk about it mitzvah Hashem. Hopefully, maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. What do we do l'alocha l'maisa when we're not even getting hana from the candles? But al kaponim, that's why it's called a bracha levatola table. We'll get to it, what to do l'alocha l'maisa in a situation like that. But al kaponim, the best place to light is the mokim where you are eating, because after all, the place that you're eating is the place that you're getting covered v'oinig. Rashi says you can see your food, you get hana from it, you enjoy it. That's why you do it over there. Now, again, we'll have to get to that kasha. By the way, I remember getting this kasha when on one of my smicha tests that I got. Baruch Hashem, I did a few, but one of them was a choshev rav in Bnei Brak, and he asked me the following kasha. You know, when you prepare for smicha, so you learn the Shulchan Aruch, the Nosekenim, the Pri Megadim, the Gemaras, the Rishonim, the Achronim, whatever, all the regular stuff. You don't expect to get, like one of the Rabbanim that I did it, he was like, I'm asking you all halacha l'maisa shaylos. Nothing on the page. Nothing that you learned basically in black and white is going to be on this test. Just halacha l'maisa. So one of the shaylos he asked was the following shayla. But ready for this? When you go for your smicha test, make sure you know the answer. He says to me there was a hotel, and the guy walks into the hotel, and he wants to light candles on the table that he's eating. So he goes to the dining room, finds his table that he's eating. He puts his two candles on the table, and he lights over there, and he walks out. Fine. The waiter walks in a few minutes later. It's like, this is weird. You can't just put candles on the table. There's napkins, there's things that can get burned. It's just not mahalach. So he takes it and he puts it on the chair next to the table. Puts it on the chair. Now, that was before Shkia. Because when Shabbos came in, that chair had two candles on it. Now I have a problem of what we call, right, in Orach Chaim Siman Shin Yud Aleph Shin Yud Beis, which is the halacha of basis. That means when Shabbos came in, there was muktzah on an item. So now this chair is now muktzah. Now the problem is that I don't know which chair it is, because they mixed that chair with all of the chairs of the 2,000 chairs in the hotel, which means one of the chairs out of 2,000 is going to be muktzah. We know that a davar choshev Yeridei Simukuf base tells us that you're not bottle. It can never be bottle afilu be'elef. So if that's the case, is this yid allowed to sit down on Shabbos in that hotel using one of the chairs or not? That was the smicha question that I got. Again, when you're learning Yeridei, Pei Zayin, Peches, Peites, Sali, Sali Aleph, it doesn't say that anywhere, right? That's the kasha. Does that work or not? So, but I'm not going into it now, but there's the Ramah at the end of Shin Yud that says that you can't ask for something that doesn't belong to you, which is why the chair never became muktzah, which is why it's okay. Al kaponim. That's why that will be okay. But again, we have to get to that kasha. What do you do in a hotel when you want to light Haneiros of Shabbos Kodesh? You're not allowed to light in your bedroom. So what are you meant to do in that case? We'll talk about that. We've got many different eitzes to talk about that. Let's just quickly go through a few other halachas. What should a person light? So the Gemara in Shabbos, Chav Gimel on a base, goes through the sugya, right? What does it mean? If you look at the Torah, make a nice candle, a nice ner, a nice flame. What does that mean? You should use shemen zayis. You should use shemen zayis. Why? We'll talk about it by Chanukah maybe even more. The Aruch HaShulchan explains, it draws into the wick very nicely, it makes and it provides a beautiful flame, and that's what it means. If you want the schus of Torah, that's what you're meant to do, light a nice candle. So Rav Chaim Kanievsky Lemaisa pointed out that if you were ever zoicha to go to the Chazon Ish and his father the Stipler, they did not use olive oil. They used paraffin, right? This clear liquid that you pour. And nowadays they make all colors. Nowadays they make all containers. Said it's all marketing, China business. Everything's a whole different mahalach. But upon paraffin makes an even nicer flame, which is why Reb Chaim Kanievsky Lemaisa paskened that there's no problem using it, even though Lemaisa Shulchan Aruch says it's better to use shemen zayis. There's not a din of zeichel anes or anything like it is by Chanukah, which is why as long as you have a better as long as you have a better flame, that is okay. Al pi Kabbalah, Avada, if you look at the Chidah, if you look at the Kaf HaChaim, and many others, then Avada is better to have shemen zayis for their okay, which is also why I think I pointed out to some of the Olam. Many people have a minhag. If you notice, by the way, I think guys came to my house and they asked me this kasha, like, oh, you cheap on your olive oil? So what does that mean? So, well, you have a whole glass container, right? You know these glasses that they make for the candles, right? Why don't you fill the whole thing with olive oil? Because it's expensive olive oil. So you're cheaper. You put a bit of water in first, and then you put the olive oil, so it's cheaper. So the answer is absolutely not. Ayin Kavachayim by Riechos talks about it b'Shem Davizal that Avada Shemen Zayis is doimer leKlal Yisrael. Water is doimer to the Umas HaOlam. Klal Yisrael and the Umas HaOlam will never mix, just like olive oil and water never mix, which is why there's the Indian to put in water and then the oil. Whatever. That's the set over there. So again, avada lechatchila, it's better to use Shem and Zayis. Some people, by the way, will have two candles that are Shem and Zayis. They'll use two. Neiris, Shabbat, V'Zochel, that have Shem and Zayis. The rest of them will use something else. Again, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, the Chazon Ish, use paraffin, so that's 100%, no problem whatsoever. Very, very quickly to finish off, the Zman of the Hadloka, also very important. This is Nagaya. By the way, you guys are going to get married. Be'ez Hashem, Be'itim Zman at the right time. And Be'ez Hashem, you're going to get invited out for a Friday night meal. And the question is, what happens if you get invited out and you're going to Haneiros? So the problem is she wants the light much earlier. And forget about the fact that she wants to get into a taxi. That's a whole different shaila, right? Somebody a bunch of years ago was going to Rav Elyashiv's Zatzel. So he asked me, I'm going there anyway, maybe you have some shailas. So I sent him with two specific shailas. One of the shailas is this one. It's a very common shaila, but this comes in almost every week. What happens? I want to light Shabbos candles, and I want to go to Haneiros, but I don't want to walk there, so I want to get into a taxi. Can my wife, who's Makabel Shabbos when she lights the candles, a man is not, a woman is, when she lights the candles, she's Makabel Shabbos, right? Say the B'shas Tadchat, the Mishabura says, when Primi Godim, you can make it tonight. We try not to make tonight. So what do you do in that case? So she wants to get into a taxi. So I asked Rav Elyashiv Lamaisa the following, and he was masking that you could do this. That she can light candles, she can Makabel Shabbos, she can get into a taxi. Avada, the husband should be a nice gentleman and open up the door, so that she shouldn't open up the door and cause the light to go on. And she can go into the taxi, even though she's Makabel Shabbos. There's no problem with that whatsoever. It's better that he paskin than making it tonight, not to Makabel Shabbos b'shas Hadloka. Al Kaponim, that's what I tell people to do. Avada, it's way before Shkias. There's no chashash of anything else. There's no problem of Marisayin, and there's no problem of anything else. She's Makabel not to Malacha, she's not doing a Malacha. The husband's opening the door, and we are good. Al Kaponim, that is that. However, be very careful not to light too early. You can't light, for example, before Plag Mincha. Plag Mincha, you look at the calendar, Plag Mincha is whatever time it is. What time is it now, for example? Plag Mincha right now. When's Plag Mincha right now? Which day, Dalton? What does it say? 3:35 is Plag Mincha. So, for example, right, Shabbos is not so much after that. A person wants to go in a taxi and wants to whatever it is drive before 3:35. Say this, so we'll light. You light before Plag Mincha, Mishabur holds it's not even Hadloka, it's not even anything, you're not even Yaitza. You can't light before Plag Mincha, you can't light before then, and obviously you have to light at the right time. We'll finish off just with the last shaila, and that is the Olim are asking, Mizaka the Olim, I didn't think we were going to do this in Shir, but I think we're going to Mizaka the Olim with this kasha. The Olim wanted to know, where's the hands, it's like the whole potion, the whole situation, that the magical formula that the Heilige Noshim Tzidkonias do before lighting candles. Where does it come from? What's the pshat? So very, very quickly, there's a machlokes rishonim when a person is actually being Makabel Shabbos. A man is Makabel Shabbos by Kabbalah Shabbos, Seder, Tosfos Shabbos. I've done Makabel a few minutes before. You want to be yotze the sheet of Tosfos Shabbos. But generally speaking, a woman is Makabel when she lights the candles. But when does she light the candle? When is she Makabel the Shabbos? Is it when she makes the bracha? Is it when she lights the candles? Is she allowed to put out the match after lighting the candles? And these sorts of things. So Lamaisa, there's a major machlokes Rishonim already. I look at the Gemara in Shabbos Lamed Hey, talks about it by Riechos, Shitas Bahag. Lemaisa, his question is, the Bahag wants to know, what is the Kabbalah? Is the Kabbalah the lighting, or is the Kabbalah the bracha that is made in that case? There are many that say, the Shiboi Leleket and others, as mashma the Hadloka is the mitzvah, and she's Makabel Shabbos with the Hadloka, which means after lighting the candles, she will no longer be able to put out the match, because she's already Makabel Shabbos, and you can't extinguish a fire on Shabbos Kodesh. But if you look at the Ran is cholik on the Shiboi Leleket, and he says, no, Hadlokas Haneiros is not the thing. It has to be the Rif, for example, the Kolboi, the Oizurua, and others that say it's actually the bracha. The Marasham also passes this way. The Magen Avraham also mashma this way. That it's the bracha that it's makabel in that case, which is why the Ramah, when he discusses the Shaila in Sif Hey, brings two Yesh shitas, and he says Yesh Oimim you should make the bracha before, Yesh Oimim you should make it after. We have a problem. A man can make the bracha before. Why? Because he's not Makabel Shabbos anyway with lighting. Even though the Mishabura says when a man lights, he should toiv to make it tonight. He should say, I'm not making, not tonight. He should say, I'm not being Makabel Shabbos. When a man lights, whoever's lighting Haneiros Shabbos over here, by the way, this week it was you, right? Baruch Hashem, you had the schus, you lighted the Shabbos candles in yeshiva. The Mishnah says you should make, I'm not being Makabel Shabbos, even though the Maisa we're about to daven Mincha in a second, but I'll go upon him. The Maisa, when it comes to a woman, she's Makabel when it comes to the lighting. So the question is, what should she do? We have a din called Over Lesiyasan. Over Lesiyasan means you're meant to make the bracha right before you do the mitzvah. So generally, when it comes to matzah, when it comes to dalet minim, when it comes to tefillin, when it comes to any mitzvah, you make the bracha, then you do the mitzvah. Now over here, how can you do the mitzvah of Hadlokas Ner Shabbos Kodesh and then make the bracha afterwards? So in order, Zuk the Ramah, in order to be Yotza, the Shita of make the bracha afterwards, and the problem of Hana over Lasiyasan, so what she should do is she should light, not get any Hana from the neighbors, cover her eyes, make the bracha, and then open up her eyes and she can immediately see the candles, and you're Yotza over Lasiyasan, because Lamaisa you're getting Hana straight after the bracha. So Moshe Shlomo has a tshuva and he says, what about all these Noshim Tzitkonyas that are standing there for 25 minutes with their hands over their eyes davening? I have suk, me, have suk. So Moshe Shlomo said it's not a hefsek. Shlomo Zalman also has a similar Lashon Licha Shlomo as well, that he says it's not a hefsek. Why is it not a hefsek? It's a Seder Hadloka. It's a Seder Hadloka. That's where, I don't know where the waving, this I don't know, this I never found, but on the bottom that's where it came from, is to cover the eyes, to not get any Hana, and then reveal the eyes to make sure that you get Hana afterwards. But putting out the match, by the way, and we'll end with this, is a major shaila. Since Lamaisa, according to the Bahag, which we're choishish for, al yedei the bracha, if you hold that way, then as long as you didn't make the bracha, you're not makabel. Which means, she lit the candles, put out the match, hands over her eyes, made the bracha, you're good. There's no problem whatsoever. But according to many, which is why many poskim hold, there's no problem in putting out the match after. By the way, nowadays they make all the fancy ththings. You know, these I don't know what they're called, whatever they're called, right? These lighter things, whatever it is. What are they called? What are they called?
Lighters.
No, they make fancy ones, the silver, Zachen, it's a shiny geschäft already, it's become a geschäft.
Was it like the little
Yeah. So can you let go of the switch? It's the same shaila, because you're extinguishing a fire. So according to many, the Aruch HaShulchan paskins this way, and the Gus Moshe paskins this way, the Shlomo Zalman paskins this way also. However, the Ben Ish Chai and many others as well, the Shemir Shabbos also says that she should not put out the match afterwards. You put it down and let it go, and this way you can be Yotza Ala Shitas. Join us tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, to continue in the Gavaldik Sugya. Have a great day.